We are live already for day 3. Okay, so as you join, just copy the link. You know how we do it already. Just copy the link and share it on your WhatsApp status, right? As you join, copy the link and share it on your WhatsApp status. Share it everywhere. This is day 3. As you join, just copy the link and share on your WhatsApp status. Two, 0. 3. We are 33 already. As you join, just copy the link and share on your WhatsApp status. We have a long way to go today, and we need to kick off early. As you join, just copy the link and share everywhere. I'm trying to go live on Instagram and TikTok. I'm now live on TikTok. So I'm trying to go live on Instagram whilst we wait for others to join us. Day 3. As you join, just copy the link and share on your other status. By the way, can you guys hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? Can you hear me clearly? FSVE day 3. As you join, just copy the link and share on your WhatsApp status. All right, so we are going to get started now. How many are we now on the? We are 93. This is 806. So let me share my slide. If you are watching from TikTok or you are watching from Instagram, um, I'm going to be sharing a slide and it might not be visible, right? It's only visible on my other platforms, right? My LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, and X. So that's where, in case you want to also follow through with the slide, that is the slide those are the places that the slide is going to be visible. I'm trying to share this slide. Upload slide. Upload slide. Upload slide. Trying to share my slide. Computer. Upload slide. Just give me a second. I'm trying to upload the slide for today. Yeah, the slide is uploading already. two. So you're officially welcome to FSVE Day 3. And it's been an amazing ride from 2 days ago, from day 1, day 2. And like I told you on the first day, I said that we are going on a journey. This is a journey, and we kicked off 2 days ago. And it's very important that you don't forget where we started from. It is very important because, again, like I explained yesterday, that is the foundation. Every other thing that we are sharing now, that I'm sharing, that I've been sharing since yesterday, they are like a continuation. They are like a build up on that foundation. And what foundation was that? It was the foundation of who you are. I explained that I'm doing a quick recap, right? I'm doing a quick recap so that you would. I'm doing a quick recap so that we can be on the same page, right? Before we go into what we have for today. This is going to be very fast though, because we have a lot to cover, and we are behind, right? So you're welcome again officially. My slide has now uploaded. You're welcome officially to FSVE 2.0 Day 3. We started on 13, 2 days ago, by explaining that financial empowerment does not start with what you have. It starts with, that financial empowerment does not start with what you have. It starts with who you are, right? It doesn't start from what you do. It starts from who you are. It doesn't start with, it doesn't start from what you have. It starts from who you are. And this is it. Financial empowerment does not start with your ends, right? It starts with your mind. And again, I explained yesterday that it is 2 days ago that it is first being, right? You need to first work on your being, BEING, before we now move to doing. And yesterday I this is the recap for yesterday. Yesterday I explained, I gave you a more complete definition of financial empowerment, because on the first day I told you that financial empowerment is the ability to make money, but then yesterday I told you that that definition was not complete. The definition was correct but was not complete, and I gave you the complete definition yesterday, which was that financial empowerment is the ability to make money consistently, predictably, and sustainably. And I told you that what the main point are those three words, those three leads. You can call them leads: sustainably, consistently, and predictably. That is what differentiates somebody that is financially empowered and someone that is not financially empowered. Both of us might make money. We might earn the same amount, right? Let's say I have like I explained yesterday. I don't want to go into this. We have a lot to go, but then I want you to just understand where we started from, because it is very important. This is a journey. So I explained a lot of things yesterday, that money is a medium of exchange. We discussed that yesterday, that money is a medium of exchange of value, right? Money is a medium of exchange of value, which means that wherever you see money, you will see value there, especially within the context of making money. So if I want to make money, I explained yesterday, and that was where we stopped, that if I want to make money, um, what I need is value. Somebody can dash you money. We are not talking about that. Somebody can give you money. But if you are going to make money within the context of financial empowerment, if you would ever get to that point where you will be able to say that, okay, I am financially empowered, you would need value, right? You would need to have some sort of value that you can give out in exchange for money. And before you would be able to say that you are financially empowered, it means that you are able to consistently, sustainably, and predictably make money, right? Through this value, which means that the value in itself needs to also be sustainable. You're welcome once again to FSVE Day 3. And our topic for today is value 8Q. Yesterday, our topic was money, its value, right? you realize that it's like a build up, it's like a continuation. So, and I told you yesterday that the ET, in case you are following the slide, the ET means and is that is another word for and. So this is like saying value and skill. Yesterday we discussed money and value, and today we are discussing value and skill. Meet me again. My name is Iniolu Amobalondero. Some persons know me as Iniski. Some persons know me as the Creative Magician. I am 21. In about 4 days from now, I'm going to be 22. Right? I'm a student. I'm a chemical engineering student. I'm a freelance graphic designer, and Upwork decided out of their benevolence, due to my hard work on that platform, to make me top rated. And then I'm 2 times we've gone over this already. There's no need again. But I said something that what connects many of us together is the fact that I'm young, just like you, and I started at 16. All of these things I'm sharing with you, again, they are a compendium. Like my life is like a compendium of all of these things I'm teaching you. I'm not just teaching. I'm not just giving you information, right? The goal is that after this event, you live transformed. The goal is that after this event, you are able to have like a blueprint that you can follow towards being financially empowered. The exact blueprint that my life, it's almost like I'm packaging my life into a blueprint, which is FSVE, and I'm giving you that blueprint so that you can also replicate the results. Let's continue. So yesterday we stopped at this. We stop at the word value. So yesterday we a lot of things. I don't want to go back again to yesterday. We have a lot to cover, right? But then we discussed that value is anything. I told you towards the ending of yesterday. I told you that value is anything someone can be willing to pay for, no matter how simple or complex, no matter how easy or difficult. And the value in this context is within the context of making money. Now, I can offer value to someone without receiving money. Please listen. I need to create this balance. I can offer value to someone and not collect money. This event is happening, and we have been here for the past. This event is happening. This event is happening now, and we've been here for like 3 days. And have I collected any money from any of you? No. So you are not paying me for this event. I'm offering, but then I'm still offering you value. Remember that yesterday we also established that there are 2 types of value: tangible and intangible value. And I told you that what I'm doing here, my time, right? I'm giving you my time. I'm giving you my knowledge. What I'm doing is that I'm giving out value, but then this is intangible value because you can't see it, you can't touch it, you can't hold it. But then when we talk about other tangible values now, yesterday we gave an example that, for example, products, um your phone it's adding value to your life, right? So it's valuable, it has value, it is value, and it is tangible. And the mic and all of those things that you see around you, the akara that you bought this morning or that you bought yesterday or you bought sometimes ago, it is value, it is tangible value, right? So, but then within the context of financial empowerment, within the context of, because there's no financial empowerment without money. Remember, I told you that there is no financial empowerment without doing. There's no financial empowerment without being. It starts from being, but it doesn't stop there. It starts from having a reformed mindset. It starts from your mindset, your beliefs. Let me say this quickly. When I talk about your being, when I talk about who you are on the first day, and I say that financial empowerment does not start with what you have, it starts with who you are. There are 4 things there are about 5 things that make up who you are. That was because I think I didn't mention this. It's very important. Listen, there are about 5 things that make up who you are. So when I say financial empowerment, it's not primarily about what you have or what you do, but who you are. There are 5 things that make up who you are. 1, your experiences. 2, your beliefs. 3, your values. 4, your principles. What's the fifth one? What's the fifth one? Okay, let's leave it at 4. 1, your experiences. That is what make up who you are. 2, your beliefs. 3, your values. When I say values in this context, I'm saying that um in civic education, back in secondary school, social studies, they define value as value are value are principles considered to be valuable, worthwhile, and desirable. Yes, that was the definition. I remember this from like 10 years ago. I mean, I still try. So, example of values is like integrity, right? Example of values is like, I remember they give us integrity, um, contentment, basically all of those. The fifth one is mindset. Oh, thank God I remember. The fifth one is mindset. The fifth one is mindset. So I said what makes up who you are is your experiences, your beliefs, your values, your principles, and your mindset in no particular order, right? Your mindset, your experiences, your beliefs, your values, and your principles, the principles that are guiding your life. I just needed to mention that. Let's pick it up from here. So I said money flows in the direction of value. I explained that yesterday, and then I think this was where we stopped. So instead of how can I make money, ask yourself what value can I equip myself with to make money, and then this is where we start from this night, right? We stopped here yesterday, and we pick it up from here. So this value that we discussed, we started this night session already. So this value that we discussed yesterday can be okay. Coming. I want my slide to be more visible. Okay. All right. So this value that we discussed yesterday can be a physical product. Now, today I'm going to be doing a lot of teaching today, a lot of teaching, right? Yes, thank you so much, Don Sam on from Instagram. You actually mentioned as mindset. Though it came to mind, but then you are correct, right? I'm making reference to the 5 things that make up who you are as a person. So when I talk about being, because we are going to make reference to that being a lot within these 7 days. Again, because that's the foundation. So the things that make up your being, just take note, like I've mentioned, your experiences, your values, your beliefs, your principles, and your mindset. So I said that the value that we discussed yesterday we stopped at, instead of asking yourself, how can I make money? Ask yourself, what value can I equip myself with to make money? And we left on a thought-provoking basis, which was that I gave an example of that woman, that widow in the scriptures, and how Prophet Elisha asked her that, what do you have in your house? And I threw the question back at you that what do you have in your house? What value do you have to offer? Now, there are many of you that can't answer that question, and so I'm going to help you answer that question, especially within the scope of this session. I allowed you live with that question. We don't have time. If not, I would have asked you that you should give me answers. But again, let me help you and answer that question. So I'm saying that the value that we discussed yesterday now can be a physical product, right? Like those stuffs you went to get in the market recently, that palm, right? That palm you went to get, that shoe you went to get, those wears you went to get, those are value, right? That is value in itself. And value can also be a digital or online product, like the courses you got recently, like the ebooks, the resources that you recently got online. Which day was that? I think that was like last week. I paid over 200,000 naira to register for a mentorship class. That is value. But then that value is digital because the whole training is going to be happening online. So just like I'm here now and I'm teaching you, I paid 200,000 naira to be mentored by someone and to have access into a community. You would eventually learn that you use money to make money. And even though FSVE is completely free, it's very important that if you are going to be financially empowered, there are certain things that you would eventually still need to pay for on your way up. Very, very important. But then let's get back to class. So this value can be physical, I explained this already. And then also this value can be in form of a service offered. Maybe like maybe through like your physical, through a physical skill. Like maybe some of you are even watching me right now and you are a fashion designer, right? That is also value. You are offering value even though that is like a physical value, right? A physical form of value, a physical expression of value, a physical form of value expression. So your value can be in form of a service offer too. So I mentioned earlier that can be in form of a product, which can be physical and digital. It can also be in form of service offered, right? For example, your electrician that recently came to your house and help you wired your house or help you make some adjustment to the electrical connections in your house. What he did was that he offered you value. And maybe after what he did, your father dipped hand in his pocket and he paid that electrician. So that electrician offered a physical value in exchange for money. It can also be a service offered through digital online skill. Hmm. Digital or online skill like writing, design, social media management. See, there are plenty. Coding, data analysis, a lot is a lot, right? But then we will get there. It can also be form of a service offered online. So, for example, now I am a graphic designer, I am a content strategist, I work for a two times founder, a two times US founder. What that means in layman English is that she has two brands, right? Just to help you understand that. So she's a two times founder and I work for her. I offer my skill as a graphic designer to her. I also help with her content strategy. So I offer her that value. Even though we've never met before, we've never seen before except online, the only thing that connects us together is the digital space. And so, but she trusts me enough to be paying me a reasonable amount of money every month, and I offer her value in exchange digitally. Let's continue. We are going somewhere. The journey is very long, but we'll get there. We are going to arrive. Now, what I've been helping you do is that I've been helping you see the different expressions of value. So this value that we started discussing about yesterday. Remember, yesterday's topic was money, its value. That's money and value. And today's topic again is value and skill. So yesterday value showed up in the topic. Today value is showing up again in the topic, and that is to show you how important it is, because value is the connection between you and the money you want to make. Again, remember that we discussed that money is a reward of value. Money is a reward for value. We discussed that yesterday. So as much as money is a medium of exchange of value, like we discussed, money is also a reward for value. So I can offer my service and then I'm being paid, I'm being rewarded with money in exchange. Again, in exchange for the value I've given. So money is not just an exchange, it's a reward for value. So I'm now showing you the different value expressions, the different expressions of value. And that was what I just did, right? Telling you that, okay, it can be physical, it can be digital, it can be goods, it can be services. So it can be a physical product, it can be a digital product, it can be a physical service like that electrician that came to your house and then rewired your house or adjusted your connection. It can also be a digital service like me offering my skill as a graphic designer to clients from across the globe. So what value is lucrative, right? Because I'm looking at some of you's mind, right? And a little bit is telling me that there are some of you asking that what value is lucrative? Like which one is lucrative? And I'm happy to answer that question by letting you know that everything you call value is lucrative. Everything. Listen, this is very important. If you are watching me from anywhere that you can see my slide, I want you to look at your screen. Everything you consider value is lucrative. The lucrativeness depends on you that is delivering the value. One, how you package your value. Two, the quality of your value delivery. Three, and who you are selling your value to. We'll eventually get to this as we proceed into tonight's session. We'll talk about this very well. But I want you to keep this somewhere in your mind in case you're asking that question that, okay, now that you've told us the different value expressions, which of those value expressions are lucrative, right? Which one? By lucrative, what that means is that which one actually will bring in that money, that plenty money I'm looking for. That plenty money I'm looking for, which one will give me that money? I'm happy to announce to you that everything you consider value is lucrative. It doesn't matter how simple. Remember that we discussed yesterday that value can be anything. It can be easy, it can be complex, right? It can be simple, it can be complex, it can be easy, it can be difficult. It's, it is no matter how simple it might be, it is lucrative. But then the lucrativeness of the value, right, depends on you that is delivering the value, how you package your value, the quality of your value delivery, and who you are selling your value to. Let me give an example. I'm currently in an hotel, and in this hotel, they sell a bottle of water for 600 naira. Hey, I do not want to show, I do not want to give publicity to any brand. But look at this. Hope you guys are not seeing a brand. Though. Look at this. This is bottled water. This is the bottled water, so that you will see that it's not as if the bottled water is very big. This is the bottled water is no more than this. And I have the receipt here. I paid $600. Not dollars, so not dollars. So I paid 600 naira for this bottled water. Now, where I come from, I came from school. My school, they sell a bottle of water for 200 naira. So a bottle of water that I buy, listen, the bottle of water that I used to buy inside school for 200 naira, I'm buying it here for 600 naira. Now there are places we go to in this same Nigeria, maybe in places like Lagos or I don't know. There are places. Sorry, it's not dollars. It's not dollars. Please don't get me wrong. I did not pay $600 for this bottle water. It's naira. Oh, it's naira. May I never see a reason to pay six. I mean, we'll get there. We'll get there. Because if you can pay $600 for water, it means that you maybe have like $1 million in your account. So, but let's continue. There are places in Nigeria where you get the same water for 1,000 naira. This same quantity, not big water. You will buy the same water. The price they will put on their water is 1,000 naira. Is the same water. Water is water, right? There's no water that is sweet. If your water is sweet, there's the problem. It's no longer water. Something is wrong somewhere. So it's not as if one is sweeter than the other. It's the same water, the same quantity of water here in Ilorin. This same Ilorin, somewhere I bought it for 200 naira. Another place I'm buying it for 600 naira. That's times 3 of the money. The product did not change. What changed was the lucrativeness and the packaging. Even when I say packaging in this context, I'm not even saying the name of the brand. I'm not even saying that the wrapping on the brand. I'm saying that the packaging, because of where I am. See, the reason why it seems like a value. Let me give an example. A bottle water, not a bottle water. Why am I using bottle water? Let me give an example. It is a skill. Let's say flyer design, for example. I'm a graphic designer, and so let me give an example using flyer design. Yeah, someone said positioning. Positioning is what I mean. Where when I all of this is I mentioned, you that is delivering the value, how you package your value, blah blah blah. Everything it has to do with positioning. But we will still get to positioning, Sha. We are supposed to still get there. Maybe branding and positioning. We will get there in the coming days, not today again. But I'm going somewhere. God. I've forgot. I've lost my train of thoughts. but let's continue. So I'm saying that the same bottle of water, the same water. Okay. Thank you so much. I remembered already. Right, I was talking about environment. That I'm a graphic designer. So let's say this same design I offer, flyer design. That let's say flyer design, for example, in Nigeria, you would see a client that would be charging you. In fact, many times, it's difficult to see a client that will pay you 15,000 naira for a flyer in Nigeria. Right? Nigeria, you would find it difficult to see a client that will pay you 15,000 naira in Nigeria. But then a client from US, you would see a client from US gladly pay you $20. Now, listen to me. I'm not saying that they don't they don't underpay there too. They also underpay, right? But I'm just trying to make you see that many times environment impact. Okay, let me give an example. The clients I work for currently, the founder I work for, pays me a reasonable amount of money every month. A reasonable amount of money. When I say reasonable amount, I'm saying let's say like 1 million plus. Now, the same service I offer her, there is every possibility. Listen, there is every possibility that no client, it is very rare. It will be very, very rare. When I say very rare, I mean very rare to see a client that will pay you 1 million naira. 1 million naira for the same kind of job description. The same job, the same job. The only difference is the location. So, because another reason why a client from the US or from another country, for example, now would gladly pay more for a flyer than what a Nigerian would pay, aside from the economy and everything, is because they value it differently. So the average business owner in Nigeria, many of them don't even see a reason why they should have a flyer. Many of them see it as something that is, let me just, everybody's having flyer, so let me just have flyer too. Let me just create a flyer for my business. You can see the way they value it with how they price you. A client will enter a DM and say, okay, collect 2,000 naira for this flyer. You can see that even the client himself or herself does not value what she wants to pay you. Like, she doesn't value what she wants to pay you for. She doesn't value the flyer. She's just doing it because she wants to do. Like, she's not doing it from a place of, oh, this flyer can actually help me make more money. Oh, this flyer can actually help me make. Okay, so the same thing applies to, let's say, social media management, for example. Now, the average brand in Nigeria, for example, probably doesn't see a reason why he or she should invest so much money in paying his or her social media manager, right? Because they're like, social media in their mind, subconsciously, they feel like they can easily do away with social media. They are not seeing it like, okay, this is an investment, so I should invest so much money in this thing. Let's continue. So what I'm just trying to tell you, that many times you can see the same weight of value being rewarded differently based on environment, right? So I'm saying that everything you consider valuable is lucrative. Everything you consider valuable is lucrative. A photographer will take a picture for 5,000 naira. Another photographer will tell you that for you to get the same number of pictures, you have to pay 100,000 naira. It's the same skill. Maybe not the same quality, but it is still photography, right? But then you realize that one is more lucrative than the other. Let's continue. Don't start with, oh, now listen. I explained earlier, and God, time is a burden. Time is a burden. Anyways, don't start. I've taught you the different expressions of value. I've shared with you the different expressions of value. But then I want you to be careful not to want to do everything, right? Pick one of those value expressions. When I say value expressions, now you understand what I mean. I want you would eventually name this value. We will give this value that we are discussing within the context of FSD. We'll give it a name very soon. We'll soon get it, right? But I'm saying that when it comes to building value, right, or equipping yourself with value within the context of making money, do not start with all of those value expressions that I just named. Okay, I mentioned digital product, I mentioned physical product, I mentioned digital service, I mentioned physical service, and then there's somebody maybe among you that is thinking that, oh, I want to learn everything because I want to pack all this money. That is not a wise thing to do, right? Because all of these value expressions, they have different demands. But one thing that is consistent with everything is that it is not easy. And it takes time, many times, for them to become rewarding. We'll get there. I just want you to have this at the back of your mind and even at the front of your mind, that do not start thinking of, okay, how do I learn all of these things? How do I start equipping myself with all of these value expressions? Pick one of those value expressions that is sustainable and build from there. Then gradually you can expand. I started my journey personally with graphic design. It was just graphic design. Then along the way, I realized that people were coming that, oh, you need please teach me graphic design, teach me graphic design. Then initially I was teaching graphic design for free, teaching graphic design for free, teaching it for free. Then eventually I now organize a paid class, right? And now people were now paying me to coach them. People were paying me to train them. Then eventually, now remember that these two things were my services, but then different services. Then eventually, I now package a product. This was in 2022, and I packaged a product. I called it graphic design course. Yes, graphic design course. I packaged the product, and then I think I put 1,000 on it. I packaged it. I was not selling it. People were buying it. I think in the first month, 100 people bought it. Okay, continue. Now I already have a digital product. Then gradually, and I started building my WhatsApp community. And so people started paying me that, okay, we want to put something on your WhatsApp status. Why don't we just, since we know that you have valuable audience, your audience are young people that they are valuable, they are seeking for value and all of that. Why don't we give you an amazing opportunity and then you share it and then we'll pay you? So I shared it, and then I was taking a few ones that were really solid, sharing them with my audience, and then I was being paid. All of these things are different value expressions. I was offering value in different ways and I was being paid in everything. But remember, everything started from one place. So I wasn't trying to do everything. We'll still get there. Now, if you look at FSVE, FSVE is Financial Skill and Value Empowerment Project. Financial Skill and Value Empowerment Project. So you already know that the value that we are talking about within the context of the Financial Skill and Value Empowerment Project is skills. So we are zooming down to skill. We are focusing on skills as the value expression, and this is what I personally encourage every young person to embrace. And I'm going to tell you why very soon. So there are two routes. There are two routes to financial empowerment that we are that within the context of making money, right? There can be more routes, right? You can be talking to someone else and then they will give you more routes. Like, for example, now somebody can tell you that, okay, another route to being financially empowered is being a politician. Yeah, somebody might say, I didn't say that. I mean somebody might say that it could be being a politician is a way to be financially empowered. But then within the context of financial skill and value empowerment projects, and the theme of this event, of this project, is how to make money legally. I'm saying that there are two major routes to financial empowerment, and one is starting a business. One is starting a business. There are some of you here that have businesses, or you have a business, right? There are some of you that maybe you have a shop, right? Someone said my slide is smaller today. Okay, let me make it big. Let me make it big for you guys, so that the focus will be less on me. Okay. So it's bigger now. You guys can see it. Two major routes to financial empowerment. We have a long way to go. We have a long way to go. Help us, God. One is starting a business, a physical business. The other is equipping yourself with digital skills and offering them in form of service, physically or digitally. Right? Equipping yourself with digital skills and offering them. And this is what we are going to laser on as far as FSVE is concerned. Digital skills. And I'm sharing this because it was digital skills that changed my life, literally transformed my life. And also because many of you here are young people, right? If not all of us here, we are all young people. Some of you are 16. I know that we have like a reasonable number of 16-year-olds in the house who genuinely want to make money. And one of the things that as young persons we probably do not have is resources. When I started in 2021, all I had was like a smartphone that had been used for 4 years by my sister. So they passed it down to me. This phone literally crashed like 2 months after I started designing. So you know how crazy that phone, how bad the phone was, right? So there are many of you here that there are some of you here that maybe have like that kind of device, right? There are some of you here that you have you are limited in resources. Maybe there are some of you here that you're actually borrowing someone's phone to participate live in this project, right? So again, the best alternative is a digital skill, right? Why? Because it is easily accessible. Easily. It is easily accessible. I did not say it is easy. But then, why do I recommend digital skills and why are we focusing just on digital skills? Is simply because digital skills are less risky. What do I mean by less risky? If you fail in a business, you have more to lose than if you fail in your skill. Now, don't get me wrong, both of them demand investment, and we'll get to that, right? If you are going to be very skilled, you need to make investment, and many times this investment will even have to be monetary, right? But then when you compare that with starting a business, for you to start and run a physical business, sometimes every time you would need capital. You need capital to start, and depending on the business you want to do, this capital can be different prices, right? Sometimes for you to start a physical business, you need a building, you need a place, you need a location, right? So if the business did not eventually work out, you would have lost more than if it was a skill that you were starting. So digital skills compared to starting a physical business, they are less risky. It is less risky. It is easier. It is not easy, but it is easier compared to starting a business. It is cheaper. It is not cheap, but it is cheaper compared to starting a business. It is faster, right? Which means that um, you can start getting results faster. And when I say result now, I'm not saying sales, because there are many people that have a physical business and then they are making sales, but then they are not making profits. When you remove the rent, if they probably have like a location and then they are paying rent, when you remove the rent, when you remove the capital, when you look at inflation, right, you realize that at the end of the day, you might not be making a reasonable amount of profit. And many times at the initial stage, you still have to invest the profit, even the small profit, back into the business. That is also applicable to skills in a way, but would eventually get that. And digital skills, I personally consider them based on the fact that they are easier, cheaper, faster. I just believe that they are better, especially for a start. And eventually your skill can even fund your business. I was watching, not watching, I was on X, and I know about a particular guy that started freelancing, right? So for you to freelance, you need a skill, definitely, right? So he had a skill that he was offering, and then he was freelancing with it. That means he was offering it to different clients, and eventually he made like thousands of dollars, and he now built a restaurant, right? He built a physical restaurant. I mean, a restaurant will be physical now, right? So he built a restaurant, and I think I heard him say that he has always been passionate about building a restaurant, about owning a restaurant, because he loves cooking and all of that. Now, just imagine that he had started with just all he focused on was just building the restaurant. He might not have make he might not have made enough money to be able to scale significantly compared to the amount of money he made from his skills, and he was able to like fund that business with the money he made from that skill. Another thing that you might want to like consider is that when you are offering a skill, it especially in this digital era, it's now easier, much more easier to offer your skill to different persons across the globe compared to a physical product. I feel like that is very straightforward. Our time is running. So the value expression FSV is concerned about is digital skills. And I already gave you guys my point, right? And we are not focusing on business. And when I say business, I mean as in buying and selling of product or physical product. Now, remember that from yesterday, I told you that a lot of people are broke because they don't have sellable value. Remember, I told you this yesterday, that a lot of people are broke because they don't have any sellable value or because they don't know how to package and sell their value. So there are some of you that are listening to me right now that you have value, you have a skill, maybe you have products that you sell, right? Maybe like digital products, or you have like a service that you offer. So you already have value. You have that value that you can exchange for money. But sometimes the problem with like many people that have value is that they don't know how to package and sell their value. Another problem that you would eventually see as we proceed tonight that hinders people that even have value from actually making money is ignorance. We would eventually get it, right? Very, very soon. So a lot of people are broke, and if you are broke, you can already know whatever category you fall in. Whether it is that you don't have a sellable value. There are many of you on the call that your issue is that you don't have a sellable value. And then there is another category of people that they don't know how to package and sell their value. Now, we are going somewhere. Am I saying that once you have value to offer in exchange for money and you are able to provide solutions to problems, then money will start flowing in and you would no longer be broke? No. Okay, yes or no, yes or no. It can be yes, it can be no. But I'm going somewhere. So again, just because you have value, listen. Yesterday we established that money is a medium of exchange of value, and I've emphasized the fact that money flows in the direction of value. We've established this that money flows in the direction of value, but then it doesn't mean that when you have value, money will automatically come to you. It doesn't mean that when you have value, you will just begin to attract money. Money will just be looking for you. There are a lot of persons that have value, but then they are still broke. We'll get there. Many persons with great skills are frustrated. They feel scammed because many persons with great skills are frustrated because some persons are very skilled and still very broke, and then they feel scammed. And one thing I won't do is that I won't deceive you. I won't deceive you. I won't because there are a lot of people that are frustrated, and that's because they feel scammed. They feel scammed. They feel like they told me to learn a skill. They told me that if I learn a skill, I'm going to make money. They told me that money flows in the direction of value. So why exactly have I learned graphic design and I still do not have money? Why exactly have I learned this skill and I still do not have money? I'm happy to announce to you that just because you have value, or maybe I'm not happy to announce that, but just because you have value does not mean that money would now begin to flow in your direction. Yes, money flows in the direction of value, but then it is not enough to have value. And this is why a lot of people are broke. They are very skilled. A lot of designers are very creative and still very broke. A lot of people are skilled. They have the skills. The skill is not the problem, but then somehow they are still not able to make this money. Why? Look at this tweet from like 2024, and it says if you put the same amount of energy you use, this was a tweet by Tim Okonkwo. I'm reading this out now for the sake of those of you that are not watching from the platforms where the slide is visible, right? Like from TikTok and Instagram. It says if you put the same amount of energy used in learning a skill into getting a gig, you would get it. Right? I'm going somewhere. So the reason why many people listen, the reason why many persons are very skilled and still very broke, the reason why many persons have value, have skills. We already named the value in this context as skill. So let me keep using the word skill. Now you already understand what I mean by skill. Skill is the value that we are talking about in this context. So a lot of people have the skills. The skills is not the problem, but then they are still broke. And amidst the many reasons why that can happen, one of the reasons is that there are a lot of persons that invest so much energy, they invest so much resources, they invest so much money in learning a skill, and then they ignore the business side to that skill. Yes, learning a skill and the business of that skill are totally different. Because personally, when I started designing, when I got my skill in 2021, I was lucky because I didn't have to start thinking of how to get my first client, because I wasn't even looking to get my first client. But even though I wasn't looking, I got my first client. My sister referred me to a friend, and that friend paid me, I think it was 1,000 naira that year. Money, naira still had more value then, right? So I was paid 1,000 naira. And this 1,000 naira was paid was the amount. Actually, she paid me 1,200. So this 1,000, this 1,200 that she paid me, I could remember that the first class that introduced me to graphic design, that I decided to risk when I decided to like give digital skill a try. I paid 1,000 naira for that class. So, and just less than a month after I started this design as a newbie, like totally new to design, I made 1,000 naira. So I could feel it that okay, this skill can pay me, right? So eventually I had to now learn. I learned from experience. There were times where there would not be client and all of that. I learned from experience that okay, you don't just make money from a skill because you are skilled. You don't just make money from a skill because okay, yes, I have this skill and then I can offer this skill, and in fact I'm very good at this skill. That doesn't automatically make you have money or make you attract money. You need to understand the business side to every skill. And this is the ignorance that is sponsoring the financial state of many young persons. Many young persons are broke and they are skilled, but then they do not understand that there is, even though the connection between you and the money you want is value, and within this context, it's skill, there is something else between the skill and the money you still want to attract, which is the business of that skill. And when I say business of a skill, it's not just about digital skill self. Every skill has its business side. And one thing you would know about every skill is that all of these business, all of these skills, they have similar business. They have, like, when I say business of the skill now, business of a skill, they have similar, they are similar, right? The business of every skill have similarities. Some I want to ask that, okay, Ini, what exactly do you mean by the business of a skill? Okay, I've learned graphic design again. What exactly do you mean that, okay, and I have to learn, okay, the business of graphic design again, the business of content writing? What exactly are you saying? I'm saying in simple terms that how to translate the skill to cash, or you can just say monetization of your skill. So when I say that there's a business side to every skill, what I'm saying is that um, you will need to translate the skill to cash, and there are things you need to know to be able to translate the skill to cash, right? Or you can just say that the monetization of the skill, how to monetize your skill, how to make money. Monetization is from the word money. So how to make money from your skill, how to make money with your skill. So monetization of your skill is like the business side of the skill. That's what I mean in simple terms, right? You can have a great mindset, you can have a great skill and still be broke. This is something you need to know. When you know this, having this knowledge helps you because you are able to like tilt your attention in the right direction. Okay, so that when you know that it seems like you have the right mindset, right? You have your who you are, right? Who you are being. Remember, it seems like okay, it's in place, and then you now also have doing. You have so you have your being is intact to an extent. Your doing is intact. Why are you not still having? Being, doing, having. Why are you not still having this money? Many times this is the reason. And this is the reason for many young persons. This isn't about mindset. This isn't about learning a skill. You already have like a good mindset, a growth mindset, right? You are not limited in your mindset, right? And this is not also about learning a skill. You have learned the skill. You are very skilled. You are very good. And in fact, your fellow designers are saying that wow, whenever you post your designs, they are blown away. They are like, please come and teach me, please come and teach me. So in your mind, you are thinking, people even want to learn, they want to learn what I do. So why exactly am I not still getting clients? Why exactly am I not still making money from my skill? Many times there is a knowledge gap about the business of your skill. All sellable skill have similar business principles, but the applicability of the business principles differ with different skill. So, for example, now there is writing. The business of writing is different from the business of music. Yes, music is a skill, right? Of course, music is not a digital skill, right? But then music is a skill. So the business of writing differs, is similar to the business of writing. All of business of writing, for example, business of music, business of graphic design, business of whatever skill you can think of, all of these sellable skills, they have similar business principles that is applicable to them. But then the applicability of the principles differ with different skills. So, for example, now a business principle is negotiation, right? A business principle is marketing. Marketing, for example. But how you market your design skill is different from how you would market your musical skill, right? How you would market your writing skills many times will be different from how you would market your design skill. How you would market your design skill, for example, is different from how you will market your virtual assistant skill. How you will market your virtual assistant skill is different from how you will market your data analysis skill. The same principles, marketing, applies to everything. But then how you would apply those principles, they differ from skill to skill. But then understand fundamentally that the money you are looking for is in the business of the skill. The money you are looking for is not in the skill itself. We've discussed that money flows in the direction of value. We've discussed that, remember that it is money flows in the direction. In the direction. Direction is the keyword. It doesn't mean that money goes to value, or like money is equals to value. So just because you have money does not mean that you have just because you have value does not mean that you have money. Money flows in the direction of value, but then money is not equals to value, because eventually within this context now, value is a skill. The money that you are looking for is in the business of that skill. It's in the business of that value. Don't just be a skilled person, be a skilled businessman. Don't just be a skilled person. Oh, come on. Time is a burden. Okay. The money is in the business of the skill. Now. Listen to me. When I say that the money is in the business of the skill, now it doesn't mean that you would now not prioritize being excellent at your skill, being skilled. Listen, even though there are people that you are more skilled than, that will make more money than you. It's possible that you have been designing for like the past 5 years, for example, now, and you are still struggling to earn on 100,000 naira from design. Now, I'm using graphic design because I am a graphic designer. Everything I'm saying is applicable to every digital skill. It's applicable to every skill. In fact, physical skill. The business of fashion design, yes, there's the business side to fashion design. You can be a fashion designer be a very good fashion designer, then you not still make money? Are there not good fashion designers that's still not really making money? At least an amount that is supposed to be commensurate to the value that they are providing, to the weight of their value. This person is very skilled. So why exactly is this person broke? I'm saying that it's possible for someone to have it's possible for someone to have been designing for like 5 years, for example, and someone that just started designing last year will be earning $1,000. And the person that has been designing for 5 years, very, very skilled, have the experience, is still barely surviving. He's still trying to earn as much as 100,000 naira or $100 per month. Meanwhile, the person that started designing 1 year ago, 2 years ago, is earning $1,000. This is real life. I'm telling you things that are real life. Like, I'm telling you real life. These things are happening. I personally know people that are more skilled than, that are making more money than me. I mean, that's life at the end of the day. But I'm saying that many times you realize that the issue many times, amidst other issues, is that the person that probably started 2 years ago, for example, understand the business of the skill than the person that started 5 years ago. Maybe you've been designing for 5 years consistently, and just because you are skilled, you probably think maybe you have been earning like small money here and there, and so you don't, it has limited your possibilities, your exposure to possibilities, and so you are even comfortable. That's another thing. You might just be comfortable with the fact that, okay, I'm earning 100,000 naira per month. Meanwhile, there's someone else that is earning like $1,000 per month. Sometimes you, aside from the fact that the one might be more exposed than the other, sometimes it's also the business of the skill that differentiates them. With the right mindset, you would be patient with yourself. Now, this points back to being. Remember, being. With the right mindset, you will be able to be patient with yourself and your growth, knowing that it is not Yahoo. And so the skill won't pay immediately you start learning. It will take time and a lot of effort. I'm saying that just because the money is in the skill does not mean that you will now not prioritize being competent at your skill. Because, okay, sorry. Because the business, right, understanding the business of design, right, might bring in the clients, but it is your competence that will make them stay. The business of design, right? Understand the business of design, blah blah blah, can help you get the client. Maybe you are very good at marketing, you are very good at negotiation, and so you're able to negotiate a good price. But if you are not excellent at what you do, if you are not competent, it's going to be obvious over time that you will not, because you will not be able to sustain the job. You will not be able to sustain the inflow of the cash, because even though you understand the business of your skill, you are not competent. So the money is in the business of the skill, but your competence at the skill, creates opportunities for the business to keep bringing in the money. So don't compromise excellence at your skill. They should not replace each other. They should complement each other. Now, listen. You can have the solution to people's problems, but if you don't know how to sell the solution to them, you will still be broke. I can't explain the business of your skill in details here, because again, like I said, the business of skills, they differ from skill to skill. The business of skill differ from skill to skill, and so for some of you that might be lucky to be selected as beneficiaries that want to support, most likely your tutor in the different skill that you'll be going to, they are going to teach you the business of your skill. But I'm saying that for some of you that might not be lucky to be selected, it's very important that you understand that when you want to learn from whomever you want to learn from, it's very important that you ensure that you are learning the business of your skill also. There are many of you that are not skilled yet, and I'm telling you that when you want to learn the skill, ensure that you also invest so much energy, as much as you would invest in learning the skill, ensure that you also invest that energy in learning the business of the skill. It's one thing to equip yourself with a sellable skill. It's another thing to know how to sell your sellable skill to the right persons. As you invest in learning a skill, particularly in this context, a digital skill, it's very important that you also do well to learn the business of the skill, except you just want to have fun. Let's talk about skills quickly. Skills are divided into two things. Now, this part is going to be very educational. Skills are divided into two parts: hard skills and soft skills. Skills are divided into hard skills and soft skills. I'm rounding up already, right? Our time is gone. I know. I'm wrapping up. Skills are divided into hard skills and soft skills. What are hard skills? Now, when you hear hard skills and soft skills, the first thing that you might want to think about is that, okay, hard skills is hard, soft skills are soft. But no, that's not true. It's just like that thing you are taught in computer science where they tell you that there's something called hard copy and soft copy. So that version of that data, right? That information that is on your phone, for example, now, that is like soft copy. But then when you print it out, for example, now it becomes hard copy. So does it mean that the hard copy is hard? Does it mean that the soft copy is soft? So it is not a definition of how difficult it is, right? Or how easy it is. It is just description, right? It is basically description. So when you hear hard skills, it's not saying skills that are hard, it's just describing the skills. Like it's not describing the skills, rather. Sorry. It's just a name, right? Just like hard copy and soft copy. So we have soft skills and then we have hard skills. Examples of soft skills are communication skills, time management, problem solving, attention, blah blah blah, critical thinking, leadership. All of these things are soft skills. While hard skills, example of hard skills is like graphic design, virtual assistant, social media management, data analysis. Basically, all of those skills that we'll get there. We'll eventually get there quickly. I would explain hard skills when we get there. But let's touch on soft skills a bit. Now, as much as it seems like I'm rushing this part, it's very important that you understand that soft skills are very important. I know that many of you are here and you are probably invested in, okay, I want to learn digital skill. Okay, it was graphic design that transformed your life. It was graphic design that did this and did that. Okay, I want to learn this digital skill, blah, 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 blah. Understand that the mastery of your digital skill, that's your competence, can get you the job, can get you the gig, but it is your soft skills that will keep you at the job. So as a social media manager, for example, now you are a very good social media manager. You understand analytics, you understand how to work with analytics, you understand how to make videos go viral. You have all of this understanding. But then there's now you are earning so well, they are paying you so well. But because there's now a slight misunderstanding between you and your HR, for example, HR, human resources, right, or hiring manager, whichever one you want to use. Or let's say you have maybe your boss complained about something that, okay, you did this and I'm not good with it, I'm not comfortable with this thing that you did, and then you just start insulting the boss or insulting your team member. You are very competent, you are very good, but at that point in time, what will make you lose the job is not complacency at your job. What will make you lose the job is not because you are not good. What will make you lose the job is your soft skill. Is the fact that you have not worked on your soft skills, specifically in this context, communication. And it is not just communication. You can see I listed a lot. This is not everything. There are a lot more, right? There are a lot more than this, right? For example, now, uh, the client that I currently work for, she constantly says it that one of the things she likes about me. Another thing is time management. Yes, I just mentioned time management here. It's very important. Let's say, for example, now you are very skilled. I need to say this. Let's say, for example, now you are very skilled. See, this is why some of you are also not getting job. This is why, even though you have the value, even though you have the skill, you are still not making money with the skill. Many times or sometimes, this is also the reason. is the fact that you have not equipped yourself with soft skills. You don't know how to work with teams, right? I'm going to teach you how you can work on your soft skills. We are going to get to that very soon, right? So teamwork is another soft skill. So you don't know how to work. You just always want to do it by yourself. You don't know how to work with a team, right? You don't know how to work with people. You don't know how to collaborate with people, right? You don't know how to collaborate with teams. Let's say, for example, now you are working with a team. You don't know how to flow with a team. You don't know how to work with a team. That is going to be a problem, because when you now start working with that your dream company, your dream brand that is probably paying you well, or paying you, let's say, like over $1,000 per month, when you get there, you realize that teamwork is very important. Like, they don't play with teamwork, right? Now, in that particular case, just if you are not willing to learn, because willingness to learn is also another soft skill, right? If you are not willing to learn in that environment, you will lose the job. You will not last at that job, and you are going to lose the job, not because you are not competent. So again, I say that the mastery of your digital skill can get you the job, right? You are very competent, you are very good, and maybe you even understand the business. So, I mean, you are now very good, and then you understand the business of your skill. So getting clients is not your problem. But if you would ever be able to retain that job, it will ever be able to retain that your client, you would need soft skills. So the mastery of your digital skill can get you the job, but it is your soft skills that will keep you at the job. Your attitude to work, all of those things I mentioned, very important. And in fact, your soft skills can open the door to more jobs. There's something called referral. For many of you, when you eventually start working, that's for some of you that do not understand. Maybe like you are totally new to these things, and this is totally new to you. When you start working, right? When you get the skill and then you start offering your skill as a service, one of the easiest way to get clients is referrals. One of the easiest way to get clients is referrals. And there are many persons that they get a client, and then because of their soft skill, they spoil their relationship with the client. And automatically what happens is that now you've closed the door to referrals that could have come from that particular client, simply because of your bad habits, simply because of your soft skills that you have not equipped yourself with. I'm saying all of these things so that you will know that soft skills are very important. And as much as you want to learn how to design, as much as you want to learn how to do this, how to do that, how to equip yourself with this skill and that skill, it's very important that you also prioritize working on your soft skills, so that you don't start getting jobs and start losing them and start spoiling and start destroying your relationship that could have potentially changed your life. How can you develop your soft skills? Volunteer. This gives you the opportunity to gather the necessary experience you need, even though you won't be paid. Right? Volunteering is one of the things that would really help you. It was in early 2022, entering into the year, I noticed that one of the things my best friend used to do a lot was to volunteer. And so this guy would get jobs, this guy would get on interviews, right? He would be able to close jobs. He was making a reasonable amount of money, even though we were both like almost like beginners. We were just starting out together. And I noticed that he would be doing interviews with like top guys, with foreign clients and all of that. And one thing I noticed when I studied him was that this guy would volunteer. He would enter clients DM, right? He would enter clients DM and tell them that he would just code DM them and be like, code DM, what it means is that you send a pitch, more like a pitch to a client. So he would enter their DM and be like, okay, come on, our time. He would enter their DM and be like, okay, I will do this for you for free, blah 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 blah. And through that he will get a job. Volunteer. When I say volunteer, it's not even only about volunteering for a job, for example, or for a client. Sometimes it's about volunteering for a project like this, for example. So I currently have like a lot of volunteers that I work with. And one thing many of these volunteers have learned, one thing they've learned that you can never take away from them throughout the process of preparing for this event, working on this event together, publicizing this event, getting publicity materials ready, one thing that many of them will be able to say is that they've learned from working with other people. Somehow they've learned how teamwork works, because the graphic designer, the content writer needs to work on the content that the graphic designer would design, and then the social media manager would need the content that they would post, and then the social media managers would do the engagement. All of these are different, they are different teams working together. So gradually the person that is the content writer is learning teamwork, because he knows that the graphic designers are dependent on our work. So every team is working, they are working cross-functionally, and so they are working together. Gradually they are learning teamwork, right? So the graphic designer did something, for example, and then I correct the graphic design, for example, now is learning. So one of the advantages of volunteering is that it gives you the opportunity to learn these soft skills, right? To build these soft skills, to build your teamwork. Because these soft skills are not like digital skills that somebody can teach you. It's just like mindset. These soft skills are skills that you would learn. They are called interpersonal skills, right? Skills that you learn from your relationship with people, from relating with people, from talking with people. If you don't talk to someone, if you don't talk to people, you will not get better in your communication skills, right? If you don't work with people, you will not get better in your teamwork, right? So many of these skills are dependent on people. They are like interpersonal skills. And so it's very important that when you want to build this skill, one of the things you can leverage on is volunteering, because it gives you the opportunity to gather the experience without the pressure of, okay, this client is paying me, without that pressure of, okay, I need to deliver something exceptional because I'm being paid. It removes that pressure and it still helps to learn. Another one is internship. Internship is very similar to volunteering, but it is more structured. So internship can be paid or unpaid too. And many times internship you have to do like with a brand, right? With an organized brand. So you understand how the work goes on in the brand. You understand structure better. You understand, okay, this is how we do things here. Once you do this, you do that. There's like a level of structure that every successful organization runs with, right? So when you are interning with that organization, for example, now you are learning structure and you are learning some of these soft skills. And then they train you, they also employ you after the internship, blah blah blah. Start working. That's also another thing. So also another way to develop soft skills is actually by offering your skill, right? And gradually as you get more clients, you realize that you are getting better. Initially, I used to approach criticisms in a very bad way. When a client criticized my work, I would feel bad. I would be angry, blah blah. Now, they are difficult clients. I do not undermine that. There are clients that are very difficult, but then gradually, as you interact with different clients, you get better. Quick one here: art skills. I'm rounding up. Okay, I'm rounding up now. We are going to be done very soon. Okay, art skills. Quick one here. Art skills. Art skills are technical abilities. This is where digital skills fall under, by the way. Art skills are technical abilities and knowledge. I'm trying to be a bit more faster now. That you gain through training, practice, and education. They are also known as technical skills, right? They are also known as technical skills, academic skills, and competency skills. Art skills are definable and measurable, right? So to a large extent now, I can say I am a very good designer because it is measurable. You can know the level of your expertise, right? You can measure the level of your expertise. Okay, I am very good, but I'm not good up to this yet. I cannot I cannot offer this quality of work yet, but then I am good to this extent. I am good to that extent. So art skills are measurable, right? And then they are definable. This definition was from Google. This other one, the art skills are technical skills required for a job, is from, I think it's called Investopedia or something, right? I think Investopedia or something. That's the website. But then one thing that you would see that is common to these two definitions is that Art skills are technical skills. Art skills are technical skills. So art skills can be divided into two, majorly digital skills and physical skills. These are just for educational purposes, right? So you're learning art skills are can be divided into digital skills and physical skills. The physical skills can as well be said to be analog skills. Now, what are digital skills? Digital skills are skills that require technology, either your phone or your computer, right? Digital skills are skills that are dependent on technology. Physical skills are skills that are independent of technology, right? That means they can exist outside of technology. For example, fashion design, bricklaying, carpentry, it continues. Now, because I know some of you might want to say, but then there are fashion designers that are using some digital tools now. There are some carpenters that are using some digital tools now. I'm happy to announce to you that we are gradually getting to a point where there's something called digitalization of physical skills. I call it digitalization of digital skills. So, for example, now you see that there are fashion designers that now use technology. They engage technology in working on in engaging their skills, right? But the fundamental thing is that fashion design is a design, and this is why I categorize it under physical skills. Fashion design, for example, now is a fashion design is a skill that can exist outside of technology. That means when you remove a laptop from the picture, you remove a phone from the picture, a fashion designer can still effectively do her work or do his work without technology. Bricklaying, for example, now there are tools. I was talking with my roommate recently, and then he said there's now a tool that can even build an entire building. Right? It will construct a building without your intervention, just automation and all of that. I'm happy to announce to you that bricklaying as a skill can still exist outside of technology. So they are independent of technology. It doesn't mean that they can still not be digitalized, but then when you remove the digitalization, they can still exist. Let's move on. So digital skills are as relevant to the physical space as it is to the digital space. So you realize that even corporate organizations like MTN, like all of these big companies, UB, all of these big companies, even though they operate physically, you will realize that they still need people equipped with digital skills if they would ever be relevant in the digital space and even for increased revenue. So, for example, now First Bank, even though First Bank is like a corporate organization that they exist physically, they offer their service physically, and all of that, you realize that you still see them post graphic design, you still see them post flyers, you still see them posting on social media. That means there is a social media manager. There's somebody managing their social media platform. That means that they are still trying to gain a space in the global space, right? In the global village through the digital space, right? Because the closest connection to the global village, the closest way you can have access to the globe, I mean, if not the only way to have access to the global village is through the digital space, which means that you need digital skills. Whatever has to do with the digital space must certainly involve digital skills. I'm trying to help you understand that there is a market for your digital skill. When I talk about digital skill, I'm trying to help you understand that there is a market for you. There's a market for that your graphic design skill, because even the physical organizations, even the corporate organizations that exist physically, they still need digital skills. They still need people that are equipped with digital skill. So we are at a time where digital skills are as relevant as ever, because a larger chunk of the money that brands are looking for is now online. A larger chunk of the brand, there is no global brand that does not have a space online. You see them constantly pumping ads, right? They are constantly running ads. GTCO is running ads. Chodek is running ads. All of these global brands, all of these different, even Meta is running ads. Facebook is running ads, right? So they are constantly running ads, even though Facebook is like I mean, doesn't exist outside of. I want to use like a physical brand. So let's say Boku, for example, Boku bread or Boku, the company is running ads. This is like a supermarket, and they are still running ads online because they know that the larger chunk of the money they are looking for is now online. And what are the examples of these digital skills that you can engage? There are a lot, right? Like some of them that you can see on my screen now: graphic design, social media management. There are a lot of digital skills, but digital skills are fundamentally skills that, again, like I defined, they are skills that you would require technology for. Technology like your phone, like your PC. Now, now, a lot of brands, like I've explained, they understand that the money is now online. The people that have the money to pay them, they are now online. So digital skill is your own tool, is your own way of like trying to like at least chop out of the money that these people are trying to make. So digital skill is your own tool to take your own share out of this money, that brands are trying to position to collect, because now they understand that the money is now online. So they are trying to reach people online because they know that is where the money is. So digital skill is like your own tool to take your share out of this money, that brands and individuals are making from leveraging the digital space to position for global recognition. So these brands are trying to position for global recognition. They are trying to position for sales. They want to make money. They want to get sales, and so they are running ads and all of that. Digital skills like your own way of collecting your own share. Now, remember that money flows in the direction of value. We established this. And again, it is not in the direction of your desire. Yes, you want to make money, but just because you want to make money does not mean that money will flow in your direction. It is not in the direction of your needs. Yes, even you are crying. You cried yesterday that, oh, you did not eat throughout yesterday. It doesn't seem that money will flow in your direction. Money does not flow in the direction of your wants. It doesn't flow in the direction of your pains. Sadly, it doesn't flow in the direction of your tears. In fact, interestingly, it doesn't flow in the direction of your prayers. Yes, money does not flow in the direction of your prayers. It flows in the direction of value. And if you were here yesterday, you will remember the story of that widow that was poor, and then they want to take her son, and she went to Elisha and help me. Elisha said, "What do you have in your house?" Which means that even the prophet is affirming the same thing, that what value do you have? Yes, I want to bless you. That's why you realize that the Bible said, "I will bless the works of your hands." I will bless the works of your hands. I will bless the works of your hands, which means that many of you that have been praying that, Lord bless me, I need money, God bless me. I could imagine God saying, okay, what should I bless? What should I bless? I want to bless you. I've said I'm going to bless you, but what should I bless? What exactly do you have in your hands? What exactly should I bless? Let's continue. So money does not flow in direction. We've established this yesterday. So you are providing your value. Remember that now we've said that money flows in the direction of value. This is something that we've all accepted. So what you are doing to collect your own share out of the money from these brands and these individuals that are trying to position globally in the digital space is that you are providing your value as a solution to solve their problem. What problem? The problem of visibility. So, for example, now they are looking for visibility online, and so that they can position where online, they are now looking for a motion designer to create a compelling motion design for them, so that they can use the motion design to run ads online. So now they now look for someone that is a motion designer, someone that has the motion design skill. So now they want to position online. They want to position for sales, position for visibility online. And now they are looking for someone that has the skill, someone that has a digital skill that can offer them that service. And they would not mind paying $1,000 to that person, so long as that person can provide that value and solve their problem. What problem? The problem that they are trying to solve by trying to get motion design, or trying to pay for motion design. So their problem is visibility. They are not visible online. That's the problem. So the individual, for example, now the brand they are trying to position online, they don't have visibility. That's a problem. And now they are looking for somebody that has value, that can solve their problem, that has the solution, that has the value, and can provide solution to their problem. And then they pay the person in return. And there are some of you that are probably asking that what skills pays more, what skill is more lucrative. We've explained this earlier, that the lucrativeness of a skill depends on the weight of the problem it's solving and depends on the quality of people in need of the solution. I'm going somewhere. We established earlier on, because earlier on to this same question came, that okay, what skills are lucrative? What value expression is lucrative? And I told you that the lucrativeness of a skill earlier on depends on you that is delivering the skill. It depends on how you are delivering the skill, your medium of value, of your value delivery, and a couple of things. Now I'm saying that also the lucrativeness of a skill depends on the weight of the problem it's solving, which means that a brand that is trying to position online, they are trying to position for sales online, they are trying to position for visibility online, they are going to pay a motion designer more money because the motion designer is solving a bigger problem. Look at it. The lucrativeness of a skill depends on the weight of the problem, which means that they will gladly pay a motion designer more than they would pay a flyer designer. Why? Because the motion designer is weightier, is solving a weightier problem compared to a flyer design. And a motion design is weightier than flyer design as regards to compelling attention, drawing attention, and also the weight of the effort that is going into the skill. The weight of a skill, the weight of the effort going into a skill is directly proportional to the weight of the problem is solving many times. So, for example, you see that a client will gladly pay a web developer $2,000, and then the same client will pay a graphic designer, let's say $50. Let's even say $20 for flyer design. Why is the client not paying the flyer designer $2,000? It's simply because the web designer or the web developer is solving a bigger problem compared to the flyer design. See, if you are wise, you would already know that. I'm trying to say that when you are trying to learn a skill, the lucrativeness, the amount of money that you would be able to make from that skill many times is dependent on the weight of the problem the skill is solving. And again, like I said yesterday, too much is given, much is required, which means that it will also demand more effort. It will demand a weightier effort, demands weightier time, demands weightier investment. Okay. The lucrativeness of a skill depends on not just the weight of the problem it's solving, it also depends on the quality of people in need of the solution. And eventually, you would learn that even though these brands are looking for someone that will solve their problem, there is a quality of a solution provider they are looking for. And this is where competence comes back. It comes in because the people that are willing to pay you the amount of money that you really want to make from that skill that you want to learn, those people also have a level of quality that they are looking for. And this is why excellence is very important. This is why competence is very important. Because even though these brands want to make so much, I give an example earlier that I currently work for a client. I work for the client as a graphic designer. I design for our brands, and then I also work as a content strategist. Now, the only reason this client hired me, if you are going to summarize the reason she hired me, is because of the digital space. Remove the digital space from the picture, and I will not have any job again. Close down the digital space now. If there's anything like that, close it down totally, and I will not have a job. Because the only reason why she's paying me a lot of money every month is because she wants to build a presence online. The content strategy that I'm doing for her, she doesn't necessarily need it to live. She needs it because she wants to build a presence in the digital space. The design is because she wants to build a presence in the digital space, which means that my work is hinged on the digital space, right? So even though she's trying to, I'm just trying to establish the fact that many times your digital skill is relevant because people are trying to build a presence in the digital space. It's because of the digital space, and that is why it's called digital skill, right? But then even though these people are looking for people that will solve their problem, there is a quality of solution that they are looking for. And it is not a lot of persons that can provide this quality of solution. And this is why competence and excellence is very important. I'm saying that when you would eventually learn a skill, it is very important that you put your heart, your soul, your energy, your mind into that skill so that you become the best version of yourself at that skill. So that even though you already understand now that just because you are skilled does not mean that you will make money, it is very important that you learn the business of the skill. It's very important that you are not distracted, such that as much as you are trying to learn the business of the skill, it's also very important that you are also invested in being excellent at your skill. Because with time, the distinction is going to be very clear between the person that is excellent and the person that is not excellent. The distinction, in fact, the people that are going to pay that are going to pay you the kind of money you are looking for, they know what they are looking for. A brand will not just pay $1,000. They don't have that money to just waste. There is an expectation that they have. What should you consider in selecting your digital skill? What should you consider in selecting your digital skill? One, your innate. This is where we end for tonight, by the way. What should you consider before you select a digital skill? One, your innate propensities. Your innate propensities. What is that thing that comes naturally to you? There are some of you that right from your mother's womb, you've been writing, right? You were even writing on the amniotic sac inside your mother's womb. You were writing on the placenta. So you've been writing right from when you've been in your mother's womb. You understand the fact that you are going to do better at writing when you eventually learn writing. So one, because this is, I know some of you might have this question. Okay, now that you've said a lot of things, what should you consider in selecting your digital skills? One, your innate propensity. What is that thing that comes naturally to you? This is one thing you can consider in selecting a digital skill. Two, explore before you niche down. Okay. Should this be here? Okay. Yeah, this should be here. Explore before you niche down. So, but then this is after you select the skill, right? Let me skip this for now. I'll come there quickly before I wrap up. I'm wrapping up already, by the way. Market value or lucrativeness of your skill. So one, your innate propensities. That is one thing you can consider in selecting your digital skill. Again, remember that every digital skill is lucrative. Every digital skill is lucrative. It is just very important that there are just different factors that determine whether it will be lucrative for you or not. The market value and lucrativeness of the skill. Now, as much as every skill is lucrative, you need to now zoom down. You now need to like be a bit more realistic with yourself, because digital skills are not lucrative. They are not lucrative in the same way, right? Digital skills are not lucrative in the same way. Let me give an example. Like I said earlier, a flyer design. Let's say for example now, a flyer design, it will be hard, right? It will be hard for you to see a client or to see clients. Let me put it that way: to see a lot of clients that will pay you $50 for a flyer. But then you realize that it will be easier for you to find clients that will pay you 500,000 naira for a motion design. So between motion design and flyer design, which one is more lucrative? Of course, it's motion design, right? Because you will make more money from motion design, from one motion design, than you would make from one flyer design. In fact, you make multiples of money you make from one motion design than you will make from one flyer design. So motion design is more lucrative than flyer design. I'm saying that the market value of motion design is higher than the market value of graphic design. Now, there are different niches under graphic design anyways. Even motion design is under graphic design. Motion design is under design, right? Motion design is under design. But then I'm just picking out these two niches, for example, now. Writing, for example. A client would pay more money. The market value of web development, for example, is higher than the market value of writing. Yes, it will be easier. It will be easier for you to see a client that will pay $1,000 to develop a website than you will see a client that will pay $1,000 to write 100,000 words as a writer. So it means that web development is more lucrative from a more holistic perspective. If you look at it from a broader perspective, right, you realize that web development is more lucrative than writing, than content writing, right? Because the market value is higher. So that is one thing you need to consider. Then under market value, how much people are averagely willing to pay for it. And this varies by environment or exposure. For example, now in Nigeria, the average client wants to pay you 5,000 naira, 10,000 naira for a flyer. But then outside Nigeria, you realize that on an average basis, you see clients that are willing to pay like $20, $15. And if you convert that to naira, you realize that it is way higher than 5,000 naira to 10,000 naira, right? So it also varies from environment to environment. Another thing you can consider in selecting a digital skill is interest and ideally passion, right? What do you have passion for, right? What do you have passion for? You need something that is stronger than money. Even though market value is something that you can consider, right? You need something that is stronger than just the market value. You need a reason that is stronger than just the market value, right? Because you eventually realize that this journey you are about to work on is not easy. This journey you are about to work on takes patience, it takes time. It takes patience, it takes time. I've been designing for like 5 years. And it wasn't until last year, the fourth year, that I got my big break from graphic design, from design. For the first 4 years, for the first 3 years, I was making money here and there, making small money, all of that. But it wasn't until last year, after 4 years, that I got my big break. So what I'm teaching you is not a get rich quick scheme. And that's why I think I said on the first day that there are many of you that would eventually be disappointed, because I'm teaching you to be financially empowered. I'm not teaching you to just make money. I'm teaching you to be financially empowered. And remember, we said it is consistently, predictably, and sustainably financial empowerment. So you cannot base all your consideration of a digital skill on just the market value, on just the amount of money you can make from it. Else you are going to be disappointed. There is every possibility that you'll be disappointed. So you need something that is stronger than just the money. I used to say that money is not a good driver. When I started graphic design, I started because I wanted to make money. To be very honest with you, I saw that my best friend wanted to make 5,000 naira from a digital skill, from an intro video. It wasn't even graphic design. It was a video editing. It was an intro video that I generated from a website. And that was what opened my mind up to the whole idea of digital skill. So I entered digital skill because I wanted to make money. But then my first experience with digital skill, I became genuinely interested. Oh, and I became curious. Okay. So with just my smartphone, I can create designs. Oh wow. It wasn't even about the money again for me, right? It wasn't really about the money again for me until I now made money from it. I was not like, oh, okay, so you can make money from this. And then I saw a guy make 100,000 naira. I'm like, oh, so you can make 100,000 naira from this. Then I saw people now making money steadily. So you can make money from this. So it started from money, but eventually I changed my driver at some point. Money is not a good driver. So one thing you can consider is passion. See, the advantage of passion is, the advantage of genuinely having interest in what you are doing is that when the money is not forthcoming, you will still have a reason to keep pushing, right? When the money is not forthcoming, you will still have a reason to keep pushing. Another thing you can consider is the financial prospects. Hey, so the market value and financial prospect are similar, but then they are different. Market value speaks of the fact that, okay, how do people value this skill, right? How much are people usually willing to pay for this skill on an average? Financial prospect is, okay, how much money can I make from this skill? Like, can this skill really give me money? Can it give me a lot of money? That is also another thing you can consider. But like I said earlier, this should not be the only thing that you would base your decision on. See, you cannot totally shove this aside, right? You cannot totally shove this aside, but then this should not be the only thing that you base your decision on. And the last one here is future prospect and demand. How much demand is placed on this skill? Demand and supply. How much demand is placed on this skill? How much supply is available for this skill? The reason why I'm rounding up already, guys. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. The reason why there's a lot to learn. The reason why a lot of the reason why I will not encourage people, for example, Neo, please don't quote me wrong. This is why if somebody reach out to me genuinely and say, Inolua, I want to learn a skill in 2026, please will you advise me to learn graphic design? To be very honest, I'm not sure I will. I'm not sure I will. And the reason is because it's not because of AI, right? It's not even because of AI. It's because of the fact that there's a lot of supply. There's already a lot of supply. And in economics, you learn in economics that you learn about demand and supply. When there is more supply, when there is too much supply compared to demand, the value reduces. When there's a lot of supply compared to demand, the value of the product reduces. When there is more demand and then there is not much supply, the value increases, right? And by value I mean what people are willing to pay for it increases, how people view it increases, right? So you need to look at the future prospects, right? Okay, in the next 5 years, what will the demand of this skill look like? In the next 1 year, what will the demand of this skill look like? I'm personally working on learning motion design, for example, and that's because I've observed that there are a lot of motion designers. But when you look at the demand and supply, you realize that motion design is a lucrative skill. And this is one of the reasons why it is lucrative. One of the reasons why it is lucrative is because it is not, there's demand. There's demand, and the demand for it has placed value on it. One of the reasons why you realize that graphic design, a client will come and tell you that they want to pay $5 for a flyer, amidst many other reasons. I mean, apart from the fact that okay, the weight of the solution and blah blah blah. Another reason is because there's a lot of supply, and when there is supply, right, when there is more supply than demand, the value reduces. How do I know there's a lot of supply? Go to Upwork and then apply for a job. Go to Upwork and then apply for a job. And then look at graphic design, see maybe a job. Upwork is a platform, in case some of you don't know. Upwork is a platform where you can get jobs, right? Where there are clients that post jobs and then you apply for jobs. When you see a graphic design job, for example, now let's say for a flyer design, now there are still other lucrative aspects of graphic design. We'll pick it up from here. I think tomorrow we'll discuss business of skill. Yes, I think we'll discuss a bit around business of skill. And so I would pick it up from here, right? I'll pick it up from here. But then these are things that you should consider in selecting a digital skill. Focus, build, and spread. What this is about is that, like I said earlier, you cannot learn all the skills in the whole world. You cannot learn all the digital skill. You cannot learn all the digital skill. And I encourage that as you are starting out, whatever digital skill that you pick and you decide you want to learn, based on these things I've shared for you that you should consider, I will encourage that you do not disturb yourself with the whole idea of, okay, I want to niche down. What should I niche down on? What should I niche down on? Don't stress yourself with that as you are starting. I would always encourage that you start as a generalist and then gradually you can now specialize. So let's say, for example, now you want to learn writing, content writing. Writing is a broad skill. There's content writing, there's copywriting, there's ghost writing. There are different kind of writings under writing, right? But then when you are starting out, I would encourage that you do everything, generalize. And then as you generalize, you now begin to look at your strengths. Okay. You now begin to look at your propensities. Oh, I love this kind of writing. I love writing around health. You now begin to look at financial prospect. Oh, okay. This part, there's much demand. Oh, there's much demand for infographics and carousels compared to flyer design. So instead of just settling with with flyer design as a graphic designer, maybe I should go into infographics, since there is more demand for that and there is not so much supply for that. Okay. There are different skills, right? It's applicable to different skills, right? So the secret is you can't do all the skills in the whole world, right? Now I encourage you to um start as a generalist, and then gradually you now become a specialist. But then the focus, build, and spread is within the context of you can learn all the skills in the world. All of these expressions that I've mentioned, all of these value expressions, you can't do all of them at once. I explained this earlier. Focus on one, build that one to a reasonable extent, then from there you can spread. We'll take it up from here tomorrow. The future is bright. See you in the fall. I was tonight's session. Come on, we took a lot of time. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry about the time. There's a lot to cover. There's so much to cover, and tomorrow is day 4. By tomorrow, hopefully, we'll do better with timing. So I'm going to plan around that. This is almost 2 hours. Thank you so much. If you are still here, um, I know that your life is changing, your mind is changing, and I will see you tomorrow.